Hello, everybody. Welcome along to EFL today. Great to be alongside you as we preview the penultimate round of regulatory fixtures in the Football League, and there is still so much to be decided. With me, as ever, this fine Thursday morning, because that's when we're recording, to go through everything is the wonderful Joseph Jacobson. How are you, Joe?
I'm very well. You're the only person that calls me Joseph. I quite like it.
Joseph or Broseph?
Either. You can call me whatever you want.
Hey, mate, it's great to be alongside you once again. Loads to dig through and plenty on the cards we're in the Football League. Leeds United and Burnley level on points, 2 games left. The title can't be decided this weekend, but Leeds' goal difference is currently 14 better. So if Burnley lose on Saturday and Leeds win on Monday, Leeds will have one hand on the trophy. Bristol City will secure a playoff spot if they win at Leeds on Monday. Elsewhere, Coventry will guarantee their spot in the playoffs if they better the result of both Middlesbrough and Millwall and at least match Blackburn's result. Plymouth will be relegated if either Luton or Derby better their result. A win at Preston ensures Argyle are safe for now. Cardiff in a very much similar situation to Plymouth. They could be relegated if either Luton or Derby better their result. Should the Welsh side beat West Brom, their fate won't be officially sealed on Saturday. Elsewhere, Luton cannot be relegated on Saturday. In League One, Wrexham will clinch the second automatic promotion place if they beat Charlton in Saturday's late game, and Wycombe fell to beat Leyton Orient early on in the day. Cambridge, 5 points from safety at the bottom, 2 games left. They'll be relegated on Saturday unless they beat fellow strugglers Burton and Bristol Rovers fail to win. Crawley can also be relegated if they lose and either Burton or Bristol Rovers avoid defeat, or if they draw and either Burton or Bristol Rovers win. In League Two, Doncaster will be promoted if they win. If they draw and Walsall fail to win, or if they lose and Walsall lose, Donny can also be confirmed as champions if they win and Port Vale lose. Anything less, and the title goes to the final day of the season. Port Vale will be promoted if they win and Bradford or Walsall fail to win, or if they draw and Walsall lose. Bradford will be promoted if they win and Walsall lose. Wimbledon will book their playoff space if they win, or if they draw and Grimsby lose, or if they draw and Salford draw with Colchester. Notts County will book their playoff place if they win and Grimsby fail to win. If they win and Colchester fail to beat Salford, or at the bottom, Carlisle will be relegated, basically, if they don't win. You're going to forget all of that, but I thought it was helpful for everyone to know what they call the permutations. Joseph, how are we?
That triple coffee you had about an hour ago is just fully put into place, isn't it? Your last 2 minutes worth of chat. I don't think anyone really could take all of that in. That's so much going on. And I know you. I know that you're not even reading that off anything. I know that's just ingrained in your brain. You are that guy in the EFL. You know the permutations on week 19 of what can happen. So when there's 2 games to go, there's no one better, is there, to talk EFL than you?
I hope not. Oh, by the way, I'm coming to America.
Nice. Why? How come?
Just for the banter, really. Shall I tell everyone where I'm going?
Go on then. Where are you
Hold
going?
the line, caller. I've got my list somewhere. See, I remember all that EFL stuff, but I've got my list for America, my trip to America with me. Philadelphia, Cincinnati, Nashville, Washington, Orlando, and back to Nashville, then to New York City. So if any of our listeners or viewers have any suggestions of where to go, hit me up on the Instagram or on X, 1 Aaron Paul.
How's that? Is that a holiday or is that a media tour, dynasty, trying to break America? What's going on?
Do you think I take holidays?
You take mini retirements, don't you? Is that what they call it now?
I don't do no holidays whatsoever. Let's push on. This is very random. I talked about this the other day, and that is the future of Daniel Farke at Leeds United. And I said, either way, he's a dead man walking. He wins promotion, he's going to get sacked. Maybe not now, maybe Christmas, he's going to get sacked. He doesn't win promotion, he's going to get sacked. Look, they won promotion, them and Burnley are promoted. But reports in the newspapers here have said that Daniel Farke is at high risk of the sack. Discuss, Joseph.
I've seen this. I've been listening to this on the radio, people talking about it. And it's horrible. It's sad, isn't it, really, that we're having to talk about this, a manager that could potentially win the league and lose his job. Like, what other industry, what other sport, what other world does someone completely nail what they're supposed to do a year ago when they go into the job and then lose their job because of that, because they don't think that they're able to do the job at the next level. And I also understand that next kind of argument of his record in the Championship isn't great. Out of 50 odd games, he's won 9 when he was at Norwich City. So I understand it. If he was to leave right now, right, if another team came in for Daniel Farke right now and took him, Leeds don't go and hire Daniel Farke, do they? They go and get a Premier League manager who's been there, had experience. I mean, some of the names that are being linked to the job already and talking, people like Jose Mourinho. You know, if Leeds can get someone like him in, and look, do I think he's the right man to make Leeds sustainable in the Premier League? Probably not, because of the history. But do you rely on him to go and win some games to keep you up? Probably. So do they need to look at someone who's got Premier League experience rather than wait 10, 15 games and go, oh, do you know what? It's not worked out. Let's sack him and get that person in. Do it now. I think Daniel Farke's stock is so high that for him, he's probably thinking, well, I'm just going to get another massive Championship club to take them up again.
Go back to Norwich.
No.
They
No.
love him. He loves them. They love him. It's a match made in heaven. He's back to Norwich, Daniel. What?
He's too big for Norwich now. He's past Norwich. The way Norwich are going, the way the club is at the minute, he needs to go to a team that's going to win the league. He needs to go to a Leicester or Southampton, someone who's coming down from the Premier League. And I've seen Russell Martin's been heavily linked with Leicester as well. And I just think that if you're a Championship club, you want to get promoted, go and get Daniel Farke. Is it the right time for him to do it now?
Is that basically, I don't think defence is his strong point. You look at when Norwich were promoted, he went into the Premier League with Gibson and Hanley as his centre-half pairing. Then he came back down, Gibson and Hanley, Gibson and Zimmerman. They had Tim flipping closer, who looked like Shaggy from Scooby-Doo bowling around as well. And at the end of the day, I think Leicester need to sort that back line out. You've got a lot of detritus in that back line. You need to organise what you're doing. Is Leicester the opportunity for Daniel Farke? Potentially. I just think Norwich is romantic. There's something about it. Go back. You've got a legacy, Dan. Go and enjoy it. He's the best smelling manager in football. He's a lovely man. Go back to Norwich, Dan.
I don't know. I just think that he's not going to get promoted with Norwich next season. He needs to go and get promoted. Go and get a big budget. A team that's come down from the Premier League is obviously going to have a very big budget in the Championship next season. Yeah, I just think either of those suit him. But look, we're saying now that he's going to lose his job. I think he should be given a chance, an opportunity to go and do well. Because Leeds, I think, will spend money. They've got big investment behind them. They're going to spend money. They could easily start the season quite well, and all of a sudden they stay up in the Premier League and he's a hero again. Then you can build on from that. I just think that for him, he needs to probably stay. But I just think give him the opportunity. Just otherwise, it just looks horrible.
Like that. The owners of the 49ers own Leeds United. They want Premier League survival and they want to build. Everyone's going to look to Nottingham Forest now and think, you know what? Look at them. They spent all that money. They took a 3-4 point deduction, whatever it was. You got to take what you got to take, and then you roll on and you do your thing. Yeah. The problem we've got is that the club's coming down from the Premier League. Southampton need major surgery. Leicester need major surgery. Ipswich Town will not let go of Kieran McKenna if they can. I still think Kieran McKenna's due bigger things, and I don't think Leeds is the right job for him, but I don't know. I just like Norwich and Farke. I think it's a good match there. Also, just on Farke, we forget he's still in a job.
Absolutely,
he's still in a job until he's relieved of his duties by Leeds United. We can't say anything, but the papers and all the media are talking about how Leeds United could be about to get rid of Daniel Farke as their manager. That after sealing promotion, a sacking that's just come through. Nelson Jardim has left Newport County. Really lovely guy, really lovely guy. Nelson hasn't worked out. He's parted company with his contract set to end in a few weeks' time. He's parted company with Newport County. Hugh Jenkins, their chairman, has thanked him for his work. He's known Nelson for a long time and says that he's left his young family in Portugal and wants to head back home. So Newport County looking for a new manager, but there are managerial changes all over the place, Joseph, and it's kind of crazy. This stage of the season, we're seeing managers leave their football clubs You look at all the sackings, West Bromwich Albion with Tony Mowbray, Norwich City parting company with Johannes Hoff-Thorup, and we haven't really delved into that. With Hoff-Thorup is an interesting one. Sometimes Norwich was sublime. Sometimes there was completely ridiculous this season. Shipping 5 goals to Portsmouth. Madness. I've watched them a lot. I just don't know. They seem a bit undercooked, completely undercooked.
Yeah, I watched their game. His last game actually against Millwall, I was actually working on the game, and they just lacked fight. They have a style of play, and I also think that at this stage of the season, players know they're not going to get in the playoffs and where they're going to finish. It's been a bit of a disappointment season. I also think if you've got Borja Sainz and Josh Sargent scoring the goals that they've scored, the number one and before Joel Pirro scored about 16 goals the other day against Stoke. Before that game, they had number one, number two top goal scorers in the league. You should be right up there, and it just shows how bad they have been defensively. I think they've conceded something like 68 goals or something like that this season.
Can I just say something? Both goalkeepers ain't good enough.
No, or three. They've had 3 in the last few weeks, haven't they? Goalkeepers wise, and I just think that the Championship is ruthless, and I think that if you're in that consistent mold of shipping in goals, I just think it's going to catch up with you. Teams set up to not lose games. They played against a Millwall team who made it really, really difficult for them and had a great shape about them, a really good block. Norwich couldn't break it down. Norwich countered because they kept giving the ball away. They had players at the back giving the ball away. And look, it's disappointing. I worry for them because I can't see them keeping hold of Sainz and Sargent in the summer. I think there's teams, especially the teams that go up to the Premier League or come down, I think they're perfect kind of signings for those teams. So where do they go this summer? This is why, if you're Daniel Farke looking at that job, I just think it's one to stay away from rather than anything else.
I don't know. New investment from Mark Atanasio of America, buying out Delia Smith and her husband Michael Wynne-Jones. There's money to be spent there. There's a director of football. There's a plan. If Daniel can be convinced of the job, who knows what could happen to Norwich. Let's look ahead to some of the weekend's fixtures, though, and start on Friday night. Stoke City playing Sheffield United in the Championship. Stoke mathematically not safe yet. And I just wonder what Sheffield United they'll be facing Stoke City. Will they be facing a Chris Wilder team that'll be maybe weakened somewhat or will be a weaker side just in preparation of the playoffs? But 2 regulation games to go. You are finishing where you're finishing. You're going to finish third either way. Does Chris Wilder rest players looking ahead to the playoffs? Or are you going to find a Sheffield United looking out for revenge with Stoke, who were beaten 6-0 on Monday, aiming just to avoid another beating?
Sheffield United have to go for this game. They have to get some form back. I know they beat Cardiff, but 4 defeats out of 5. They have to get some momentum back, some form back, get the big players firing again. A few years ago when I was at Accrington, we cemented a playoff place with, I think, a game to go. The last game of the season, the manager changed 10 players, right? And we lost the game away at Burton, and we just lost all momentum we had, and we ended up losing in the playoffs. And I just think now that the players are so fit, they can play. They change 1 or 2 players every week anyway. Sheffield United, they got so many forward attacking players that they can switch in and out, like Cannon and Campbell and Raksaki, those guys, and Berriton Diaz, Kiefer Moore. They've got so many options up there. They can freshen it up. But I just think they need to go into the playoffs with momentum. Look, if they can choose a game, it's a Stoke team that have just chipped in 6 goals. They're going to be, rattled this week. Mark Robbins is going to be getting them on the training pitch thinking, don't sleepwalk into a relegation battle on the last day. The last thing Stoke want is last day of the season nerves and thinking, we need to pick up a point. Yeah, it's really dangerous because the way they're going at the minute, they could easily do that. I don't think they will, just because of the sheer number of teams between them and the bottom 3. I
don't think they're a good side, Joe. I worry for them. I look at other teams in there and I think, hey, the run-ins are all very, very difficult. Stoke City have got to play Sheffield United, then they go away to Derby. Are you telling me that there's no possibility Stoke could lose both of those games? Because I think I can see them losing both.
I can see them losing both games. I just can't see 4 or 5 teams below them picking up 3, 4, 5 points to kind of counteract that. That's what I'm talking about. And you think of like teams like Hull and Derby play against each other. So there's teams and Preston play against Plymouth. So there's teams below them playing against each other. It's going to be really something crazy is going to happen for Stoke to get relegated. Plus, their goal difference is better than the bottom 3 teams at the minute. But you want to get momentum for next season. You want to start building, don't you? And I look at their team, and I think they're a mixture of a couple of young players, but a couple of players that have been there and kind of, been next Premier League players and been around the Championship for a while. It just feels like it needs a freshen up. They've gone through 2 or 3 managers this season. John Walters, the sporting director there, needs to, I don't know, just get a bit of solidity within the whole setup, really, and get a plan together for the future, and maybe start afresh, and maybe another hit next season to then build again. Because Stoke's a massive club, isn't it? And shouldn't be in the bottom 8 of the Championship.
Okay, let's push on, because some massive games at the bottom end of the Championship this Saturday coming. Luton Town taking on Coventry. Coventry still in the hunt for a playoff spot. Luton looking to build on momentum they built with a really good few wins. Cardiff playing West Brom, a side of sacked Tony Mowbray. West Bromwich Albion. Cardiff, of course, sacking their manager as well, in the form of Omar Reza. Aaron Ramsey in temporary charge there. Whole derby is huge, massive. Sheffield Wednesday, Portsmouth as well.
Yeah, Hull derby's the one, isn't it, that people look at, and you probably think for either of those teams, well, especially Hull when they stay up, but especially for Derby, I think they had such a good little run of games, didn't they? When John Eustace, after he had the initial blip to start with, but after that they put a few wins together, and everyone thought, right, that's it, they're staying up. And I just think that game against Luton last Friday, I just think it was a massive loss. Just even a draw coming out of that game, I think would have been, would have put a 3-point gap between the two teams going with 2 games left, and it would have probably been done. But just Luton winning and brings them back in. And yes, they had a really good result on Monday. And I just think that Hull, you never know with Hull, do you? At the minute, they can produce great victories. They can then have poor performances. They don't score a lot of goals. So really intriguing. I think if you ask both teams right now, they'd probably take a draw. But I just can't see Luton at the minute are picking up wins. I don't know. It's just going to go down to the last game. And I'm going to ask you, I'm going to put you on the spot now. What's your 3 to go down?
Cardiff.
I know you want Plymouth to stay up, don't you? You want them to stay up so much.
Because I love Miron Musnich. I really want Plymouth to have Plymouth, Cardiff. For me, I worry about Preston North End,
Yeah, I agree.
Preston North End. And I think there could be BIT. Do you know what I mean by BIT?
I don't.
Bang in trouble.
Yeah. I agree. So
I could go Plymouth, Cardiff, Preston,
I mean, again, because of the amount of team, if it was Preston in 21st and Luton just chasing them, then I agree with you. But because there's so many teams below, I worry for Oxford as well. They're playing Sunderland and Swansea, who are banging form at the minute. Talking about a team banging trouble, I think they've done the opposite of what Preston could have done. I think they were sleepwalking and drifting towards the bottom end. Swansea, all of a sudden, Alan Sheehan, caretaker manager, how he's not got the job, by the way, on a permanent basis. You go and win 5 in a row, you deserve to get the job, don't you? There, and he's put them now in a really decent position. And Swansea looking, at the table now. Mathematically, can still get in the playoffs. They're not going to, but mathematically, they potentially could. So, it's one of those things for Preston now. And, a couple of managers have gone recently, Cardiff especially being so late on. And I'm not sure what Aaron Ramsey can kind of change there. And it kills me being a Cardiff boy, a Cardiff fan, to see them where they are. But also think may not be the worst thing for them to have a reset in the summer if they do go down and try and start something new again. Because, those teams that just sit towards the bottom of the Championship for 3 or 4 years, eventually they drop. And then it's like, how do they react to that? Do they sit in League One for a few years? Or do they then go, right, let's use this as a reset, completely change the squad, sign some good, hungry young players. They're obviously going to be a big team in League One, and let's kick on and go again.
Joseph, got to talk about League One because on Saturday there's some fascinating fixtures in there. 12:30, Bristol Rovers taking on Reading. Reading pushing for a place in the playoffs. With Bristol Rovers, man, they're just trying to get out of trouble and they are stinking the place out. Elsewhere, Leyton Orient playing Wycombe Wanderers. I was with the former Leyton Orient owner this morning, Barry Hearn. He's absolutely buzzing because he's going to watch the O's at lunchtime and then he's off to the big boxing on Saturday night at Tottenham Eubank Ben, which is going to be massive. But them taking on Wycombe, who need to recover after what was a horrible defeat on Easter Monday for Wycombe Wanderers. Then at 5:30 in League One, man, Wrexham Charlton. Whew, what a day.
Oh, incredible, isn't it? And the thing is that the TV channels over here put Wrexham Charlton on later on because they were expecting a Wrexham promotion party, weren't they? They're expecting a big kind of push, a big Hollywood kind of day out at Wrexham, but Wycombe can change that. And I know the defeat on Monday against Charlton, you can take a defeat when it's a 1-0 and people kind of breeze past it. But when it's 4-0, I think people look at it more and think, wow, that was a bit of a statement from Charlton and have the wheels fallen off Wycombe. I don't think so. I know the players there. I know the club and I know their setbacks and they've dealt with them really, really well this season. I'm just hoping for the neutral. Wycombe win, Charlton and Wrexham draw, and Stockport win. It goes to the last day when the teams are on 84, 85, 85, 86. How mad would that be? Or if Charlton beat Wrexham, and Wycombe play Stockport on the last day of the season as well. So I don't think Wrexham beat Charlton. I'm putting that out there on the weekend. I think Charlton are incredible for. And if it's a draw and Wycombe win, which they're playing a really good Leyton Orient team at the minute, who've won 4 in a row. That's going to be tough, by the way. That is going to be really, really tough.
If Wycombe go 1 or 2-0 up, I'd worry for Wycombe. Because Orient are the kind of side who start playing at 2-0 up, and their attacking power is mad.
Yeah, incredible. Well, they've got the top goal scorer in the EFL, don't they?
Charlie Kelman.
Charlie Kelman, what a season he's having. I want to talk about him a little bit later on as well. But Orient, the comeback kings right now, aren't they?
A little bit later on, we've got 8 minutes. If you can talk about him now.
Okay, what I'm going to talk about again when you talk later on is Charlie Kelman. He's not even nominated for Player of the Season in League One. He's the top goal scorer by 2 or 3 goals. His non-penalty goals are way ahead of everyone else as well. There's other players. Richard Coney's had a great season, a breakout season as well. Done incredibly well for Wycombe. Where Wycombe would be without his goals, I'm not quite sure. Keeler Davis done. I'm trying to think. I can't speak. Trying to get that out. It's a mouthful.
I can't speak.
He's again. He's had a good season, but Barnsley sitting mid-table. It's not one of those that gets you excited. Charlie Kelman should be right up there at the Player of the Year awards. They're happening this Sunday, actually, so it'd be interesting to see who wins that. But I love what Richie Wellens has done. No one's tipped him for anything this season. He's gone about his job well. Signed some really, really good players, especially on loan from Spurs this season. Donnelly's been incredible for them. And Saturday is going to be big, isn't it? I love that when those early kickoffs mean something. And like I said, with Reading, Bristol Rovers, there's a lot on that game as well. Reading needing to win to get into the playoffs. Bristol Rovers, they are desperate for a win right now. And talking about Andrew Sackins, Calderon's hanging on by a thread, isn't he, at the minute?
I don't know. I think it was the wrong appointment. Completely the wrong appointment. When you are, I don't know if it shows arrogance on the board who didn't think they were in trouble. It's a good squad there, Bristol Rovers, but at the end of the day, they've completely and utterly mistimed the entire thing. And it's going to come back to bite them. If they get relegated, I'll tell you what, it's going to cause them all sorts of bother. Just looking at some of the other fixtures in League One, Burton, Cambridge, that's a proper relegation slog. Shrewsbury, they will finish guaranteed bottom of League One there at home to Barnsley. Crawley playing Northampton. Northampton, again, lurking above the surface. They are plug circlers, as they'll call them, and some other games in there as well. But into League Two, massive games at the top, all over Saturday lunchtime, and the top 3 all in action. Doncaster Rovers, Port Vale, Bradford, they're all playing. Doncaster playing Bradford, Port Vale playing Wimbledon, and we could see the champions crowned on Saturday in what's been the most remarkable race for promotion. But do you know what I want to see, Joe? I want to see it go to the final day.
What about a final day with all three teams at the top on 78 points? And that could very easily happen, by the way. Bradford could easily beat Doncaster because whoever's top of League Two, they're not allowed to win football matches. There's been some unwritten rule in League Two this season where whoever's top, you have to just capitulate. So Bradford beating Doncaster Rovers, both teams on 78. Port Vale playing Wimbledon, and Wimbledon can't really win. They draw a lot of games. That could easily be a draw as well. Imagine three teams going into the last game of the season. And how about Walsall as well, being on 77, one place behind them? If they win, it could be incredible the last day. For me, this season is built up. There's more that could rely on the last day of the season than any other season I remember in all the divisions. It's so exciting. I have not got a clue where League Two is going to go. We've spoken about before, and over the last 6 weeks or so, we've mentioned three teams that are going to be like, they're definitely going up. No, next week. They're definitely going up. No, they're definitely going up. Who knows where any of the top kind of four are going to finish in League Two this season. Absolutely. Walsall, I still think Walsall, I'm putting it out there, get into the top three. I know they haven't won.
Accrington are a tough team to play. The thing about Accrington Stanley is everyone undermines them. Everyone underestimates what they can do. They are the team with the most concrete game plan of the EFL, and they're the team that can execute that game plan to perfection.
They can. I just think Walsall, at some point, they're going to win a game of football, and now's the perfect time for them to do it. Take it to the last day. I think if they win on Saturday, they get promoted. I just think they'll get that one win, and it's like, bam, here we go. We remember how to win. We remember that feeling. Let's bottle it up. Let's go again for next week. And I'm not sure who's going to drop out. I haven't got a clue because it changes so much. But Bradford are just in poor form at the minute. After we spoke literally 3 weeks ago, and both of us said, Bradford, that's it. They're not just going to get promoted. They're going to win the league. All of a sudden, they could drop out the top three again. So it's unreal. I love it. Just a magical EFL end to season. You can see the points tallies are really low, aren't they, this season in League Two? But that just means that everyone's so kind of congealed together, and which ends for a great end of season for the neutral.
Huge game in the race to playoffs. Salford taking on Colchester. Now, these two have put together some real late runs of form. Salford in 9th on 65 points. Colchester on 8th, 66 points. 7th place are Grimsby. They have the last playoff spot. They're on 67 points from their 44 games played. So they'll be hoping for a slip up. Grimsby, they are away in Milton Keynes. So fingers crossed for a big 3 points. I'm joking. I don't know if I have to be impartial on here, but yeah, you know what I mean.
Why? Why would you be impartial? You're a Wimbledon fan.
Well, I work for BBC, so you just never know when it's on and off. Cheltenham taking on Carlisle United. It could be curtain to Carlisle, but if I was Tranmere Rovers, I'd be ever so slightly worried. Tranmere playing Crewe, 4 points off of safety. They've got to hope to pick up some points and for Carlisle to lose. Even if Tranmere pick up a point and Carlisle lose, Tranmere are safe and Carlisle hit through the trap door. Joseph, we're nearly at the end of the programme. What do you want to talk about? Anything?
Well, I mentioned it earlier, and until you briefly made me talk about it slightly than normal. But on my mind this week is those EFL awards, and I just think that they're done so early on. Yes, I get that they have to kind of get a date in the diary and they have to prepare things, but
on the caterer.
Yeah, caterer is not going to change depending on whether it's you
never know.
Blogs or Steve Blogs coming along. They're all going to be there. The event's going to go on. You can do it at the end of the season.
Everyone could be having sandwiches.
It doesn't matter. Look, they put on big events. You've been to those events. I've been to those events. They're not having sandwiches there. One other thing I want to talk about. You waved that banana at me many times today, and I'm not sure if it's a little bit aggressive, but we'll move on from that. So I just want to talk about the EFL awards. There's plenty of players that hit form at the wrong times, the right times. Charlie Kelman, top goal scorer in League One by a mile now. He's going to win that award, I think. And I just think he should be up for player of the season. What he's done in an Orient team that are in the playoff places right now, nobody fancied him to get anywhere near the top six. He's been massive for them. And you look at a team like QPR in the league above who have struggled this season, especially for goals. They got someone like Charlie Kelman in the league below scoring 20-odd goals. They're going to be thinking, hang on a minute, we've got a gem on our hands for next season. So EFL awards just annoy me that they just pick out players too soon. Managers as well, Dave Challinor should be in that. A Stockport team that have gone so under the radar in League One this season. They're guaranteed a playoff spot for Stockport. yes, they've had a decent budget, but if you look at the teams around them, Birmingham, Wrexham, Wycombe, Charlton, they've outplayed teams like Bolton, Huddersfield. Dave Challoner, from getting promoted last season, should be up there for manager of the season as well.
Okay.
What's on your mind this week?
Thank you for asking the question. On my mind this week is bananas. Yeah. Now, I love bananas in the morning. And I'm going to link it to football. I promise I will link it. There will be a link to football. But I don't get the inconsistency in bananas in England. Look at this one. On one side, it is fine. On the other side, look, you're starting to see them aging marks. But I guarantee you, it will taste raw. It will taste bland. Why I'm linking it to football and how I'm linking it to football. A lot of football clubs giving out free fruit these days. That's the only link I've got to football. But I'm just frustrated with bananas and the situation at the moment.
All right. Well, I like that you get things like that off your chest on this show.
Thanks, mate.
It's for everyone, isn't it?
It's a safe space, Joseph.
Exactly.
Anyway, that's all we got time for on this episode of EFL today. Joseph, enjoy.
Thank you very much. You too. Whatever game or 3 or 4 or 5 games you're doing this weekend.
I'm going to be on the television this week.
Ah, nice.
Going to be reviewing all the EFL action on the BBC. On the BBC this week. Can't wait for it all. And hopefully they have ripe bananas where I go.
There you go. Enjoy.
Thanks, Joe. See you soon.
See you, mate.